Alright, hello everyone, this is part 3. I don't know how many parts it's going to be, but I'm going to do this and get this out of the way and get it out there so we can talk about more important issues. But I think this is an important issue too, and I want to share my belief on it. Let's move on. So we already talked about how difficult it is to create life from inert materials. It takes an incredible amount of faith to believe inert materials could come together by accident and create life, which cannot be reproduced in lab. And even if it could be reproduced in lab, that doesn't shut down the argument that it's very complicated and would be incredibly difficult to happen in nature. Okay, let's go on to the evolution of life. What are the 3 basic legs of evolution? You got common descent, natural selection, and random mutation. Okay, random genetic mutation. Now, I do believe in all 3 of those. All 3 of those have an impact. You say, well, hell, you just admitted to you believing in evolution. No, I did not. Let me take a step back. I did not just admit to believing in evolution, but I do admit to believing in all 3 of those, all 3 of those forces. Common descent. What does common descent mean? If we look at the lowliest of creatures, I don't care if it's bacteria, I don't care if it's viruses, go up to worms, ants, insects, mammals, all the way to humans. It does appear that they're based upon the same genetic material. It does appear that they have very fundamental things in common. They're carbon life forms, they have genetic material, we have DNA structure. So as far as common descent, I do believe in common descent. Now, whether that common descent came about by evolution, by randomly changing the organism over 4.5 billion years, or you could say that the same person who designed the frog and the methods that he used to create the frog, and I'm going to use the word he here to refer to a divine being, that divine being also used the same methods and the same genetic material to create the higher living organisms, such as the humans, such as the dolphins, chimpanzees, whatever the case may be. All the way from your lowliest forms, the bacteria, all the way to the humans. They do appear to have a common descent. Whether it's evolution or whether it's the divine creator used the same method all the way through, I believe the latter. Let's look at the other 2 forces of evolution. Random mutation going through the filter of natural selection, which basically means that you have an organism, right? They've already, the evolutionists have already said, let there be life. So we have life. And then we have random mutation. So the genetic organism is going to start mutating. It means that during the reproduction process, something in the genetic material will change a little bit. Well, if that changed, I should also say that almost all mutations are bad for an organism. Almost all of them are. But if there is a genetic mutation that is good for an organism, I can understand that it's more likely that that organism will reproduce and its offspring will be more able to survive, be survival of the fittest, and more able to propagate in the world. So I can understand that and I agree with that. Now, the question comes down to this point. Do you believe that enough of these random mutations can occur in the 4.5 billion years that the planet has existed to account for all the living species that we see on the planet? And imagine the incredible amount of lucky mutations that would have to occur for us to see all the different living things that we see. And if you apply statistics, the law of statistics, along with known rates of genetic mutations, you're going to come to the conclusion that even the most outrageous Powerball lottery statistic would not allow us to see what we see today. Matter of fact, in The Edge of Evolution, the book by Michael Behe, what he writes is that there are limits to what we can expect random mutation driven through the filter of natural selection we can expect to occur. And we cannot expect to occur, we cannot even expect to create even one organism. Let me talk a little bit about what has to happen in evolution in order for you to believe in that. Evolution requires small incremental changes over a long period of time to go from one organism to another. Okay? You have to have a genetic change, and it has to be beneficial, right? If it's not beneficial, if it's not a beneficial change, there's no reason for evolution to keep the mutation and to propagate it in future species. Okay? So if there's not small beneficial changes to get from one point to another, then evolution, there is no Darwinian evolution path. There is no such path. Okay? I'm going to throw this phrase out there. It's for those that are familiar with intelligent design, you're going to already know this phrase. Look at the bacterial flagellum. Again, I hope you go to Google, look at the image of that. I've got an image on my website under intelligent design. The phrase that's used to describe that is irreducibly complex. Okay? Irreducibly complex. What that means is any one part of that organism, if it was to break down, the whole organism would cease to function in a survivable manner. Okay? There is no small, incremental, beneficial path to the creation of that organism. It's clear evidence that that organism was designed. It looks just like an outboard motor. It looks like an outboard motor on a motorboat. Stuff like that is like walking through the woods and seeing a gold pocket watch on the ground. You don't just walk through the woods, see a gold pocket watch on the ground, and think to yourself, wow, wasn't that lucky that the earth spit up by accident a gold pocket watch? That doesn't happen. The bacterial flagellum is exactly like that. Okay? You have to read the book. There's only so much that I can relay in this video, but it gives you the statistical probabilities of how proteins connect together and what is expected to happen in certain time frames, and there's no freaking way. It is absurd to think that evolution could have had random mutations to change bacteria into viruses, into whatever ants, into worms, into insects. There's no way that all that could have happened. The amount of lucky mutations that would have to occur is beyond belief. I'm telling you, there is no way it could have occurred even in the 4.5 billion years that the earth has existed. If you believe that random mutation with natural selection accounts for me and you, then you have been fooled. You have been fooled by people with a godless agenda and want you to believe that this is all accident and there's no ethical ramifications to your action. Now you're going to say that I'm irrational and that I have a belief in an irrational being. I told you to throw all the stuff out about organized religion and what you've heard about godless societies. I'm asking you to think and use your intellect about what it would take by inert materials to not only create life, but then to propagate through random mutation with natural selection to create all the different species. I would ask you, if you have any doubt about what I'm saying, to read The Edge of Evolution before you comment back and talk about what a nut I am. Because I do not believe I'm a nut. I have my strong beliefs, and it doesn't matter how strong I believe it. The point is that you get the facts and you consider for yourself what you should believe. Looks like I've got about a minute or two. I want to talk about another aspect of this. Imagine, push the clock back again. We're at the beginning of the planet when all the inert materials were bouncing around. You have hydrogen, carbon, lithium, iron, all the different periodic table of the elements are bouncing around. You got the liquids, the gases, you got the heat from the Earth's core. And all these are just, everything is the same at the atomic structure, right? You got your protons, neutrons, and electrons. Everything's the same. In this world, before living things existed, you got to think about this. There is no desire. There is no will. Right? Imagine at some point, this is what you would be asked to believe if you believe in a truly evolutionary story. At some point, all these inert materials are bouncing together. The first replicating organism is created. That starts this whole thing, right? The first organism is created, and all of us... I'm gonna finish my thought and come back. This may be several videos. You can't get this out in truck driver's language, by the way. All of a sudden, inert material starts bouncing around, right? And they start doing the things that inert materials do, replicating free will and desire. Imagine for the first time in the Earth's history that a collection of molecules and atoms and protons and neutrons and electrons actually wanted to do something. Imagine what it would take to get inert materials to the power of desire. Imagine what that would take. That ain't something that happens by chance, buddy. I'm going to have to go into another video. Thank you.